It's showtime.
What's up, good people, and welcome to the Frank Harris Show, the biggest, the baddest, and the best show on earth. Man, that was probably as bad an NBA Finals as we've seen in years. Oh my goodness. Atrocious. The ratings were down significantly. They talk about those ratings being comparable to the COVID bubble finals ratings in terms of people watching, etc. Oh my goodness, the blowouts, the lack of competition, the sloppy play, atrocious, atrocious, atrocious. The playoffs in itself was weak, in my opinion, in general. Too many injuries, too many teams losing players at the very end of the season in the playoffs. Celtics had the easiest cakewalk to the championship that we've probably ever seen with all the injuries. Every team that they played in the first 3 rounds before they got to the championship lost their best player. That said, they did what they were supposed to do. They beat who was in front of them. But man, that was weak in terms of the playoffs. Now, that said, I want to talk about Dallas first. Okay, I want to recap and talk about Dallas. So, historic run, Nico Harrison, great job. Kid did a horrible job coaching in the finals, but during the season did a decent job. Great acquisitions at the trade deadline, Gafford in Washington. 2 really good acquisitions. I think it was a fluke that they got to the finals, to be honest with you. Don't think that they're really that level of team. That said, I want to zero in right now on Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving, redemption year. You have to say redemption year. The guy's been much maligned for some of the things that he's done in the past, right? Not taking the COVID shot, which he shouldn't have been maligned for, in my opinion, but that was a big, big issue. And then some of the Native American reservation stuff where he was leaving during the season and going to sort his oats in terms of figuring out who he was. But during the season, then there was a whole anti-Semite comment people felt that he made. He pointed to a book and he liked it, and they felt like he was promoting anti-Semitism. So anyway, and also just his persona as a selfish guy. And when he played for Boston, he struggled. And so he's really had a very roller coaster few years, but this was a year of redemption, right? I mean, he was untouchable. Nobody wanted to sign him. He had to take less money. Dallas took a chance on him. They signed him. First year went okay with him and Luka. And then this year they got all the way to the finals. And I think, he's been relatively apologetic. And I want to just go back for a second. And also, when I remember the Nets, the owner, tried to force him to apologize to the Jewish community, and it was just an abomination. Fast forward, he seems to have matured. At least people feel like he's matured. Found himself, seemingly has a family that he's, grounded in. And just in general, he seems to be doing well. So great redemption season for him. And he played really well this year. He gave us a lot of ups and downs and highlights and dazzling plays, etc. But that being said, you wonder, is he on the other side of the mountain? Is he on this championship series? He wasn't great, right? And Kyrie is known for that. Big shot he made. I mean, he's known as a big shot guy. I mean, he was the guy who was the closer when LeBron James led the Cleveland Cavaliers to a championship. He was the guy that was the closer who hit the game deciding shot on Steph Curry on a great move, but he made play after play after play. So he was a guy that people respected and thought was a closer, one of the better closers in the NBA. He struggled in this series. He was atrocious. He was terrible. Okay. In the 5-game series that it was, he had 3, flushed down the toilet of, terrible games. He had 1 good game and 1 mediocre game. Okay, so in 5 games, he was not what we expected. And we know we needed Kyrie and Luka to both be extraordinary for them to win this series. Boston had the better team. We thought that Dallas had the better stars in Kyrie and Luka. That ended up not being the case because Kyrie did not show up at all. Okay, that being the case, is Kyrie, like I said, on the other side of the mountain? Now, we know a lot of times, okay, there's a moment, a game, a fight, you know what I mean, in boxing that really takes a lot out of a fighter or out of a basketball player, and their career goes, starts to descend after that. and you wonder, was this it for Kyrie? So first of all, Kyrie's getting older, obviously. That's one. But you look at like Ali Frazier. After that, Ali Frazier one fight. I don't think Ali was ever the same. Was never the same fighter. Was still, a really good fighter, etc. But you wonder what all that Kyrie has been through, the redemption that he had this year, and then he got beat up in the playoffs. I mean, in the championship series, this last series, beat up, just beat up. Played terrible. The Boston fans were killing him, man. Oh my goodness. He struggled. But again, he's older now, a lot of wear and tear. It's tough for a point guard. He's dribbling the ball all around the court, finishing at the basket, contorting his body. At some point, it has to start going the opposite way. So you wonder if it started to go the opposite way for Kyrie Irving, and now he's on, not say the downside of his career, right? Because I think he still has a chance to be a very, very good player. But I think he's reached his pinnacle, and I think now he may start to descend. And this may be the end of Kyrie Irving as we knew him, as we know him. Okay? So we'll see. But I thought he had a really good season. But I thought he was, when I say atrocious, I was so disappointed. Because, by the way, right, he's a tri-state area guy, New Jersey guy, played basketball in New York a lot. As you know, I'm a New Yorker, so I always got love for that. So I was pulling for Kyrie. We knew him growing up. He was, great person. His dad was a really good player too. He learned a lot from Ross Strickland, his godfather. So just New York basketball ingrained all in his DNA and who he is, New York, New Jersey basketball. So I was pulling for him, but I was so disappointed, on how bad he played. And again, let's see. But I think this may be the end of Kyrie Irving as we know him. We still got love for you, Kyrie, but you dogged it, bro. Right? You let your teammates down. You let your team down. Great season, but you let your team down because you didn't perform with the brightest lights and on the biggest stage. All right? That said, good Dallas Mavericks season. All right? Had to comment on that. Love.